Now, let the uprising begin.
There are only two genders, and one of them is right here. It's the box that rocks. This is the Angela Box Show on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
Hello, hello, hello. Once again, all my fellow patriots and you filthy leftist stalkers out there, you're listening to the Angela Box Show. I'm you-know-who. Steven.
Is it time?
What?
First world problems?
Yes, I have a couple. So we went out of town this weekend, and I'm going to tell that story because we went to Montana for my sister Emily's wedding. She's the baby, and she got married. It was lovely. But I will say this about Montana. Now, I don't know. I've only been to one area of Montana. I've been to the Kalispell Whitefish area. That's, it encompasses quite a bit. Here's the deal, though. Evidently in Montana, there's like 2 or maybe 3 areas that are really nice. Okay. Whitefish is one of them. Whitefish is so prohibitively expensive. Like you would die. The median home price is 1.4 million median. And most of them are like 4 or 5 and they're like normal size houses, you guys. And let me just tell you, Whitefish is gorgeous. However, it is cold. And I mean, it is cold. And so when we're talking about a very unforgiving climate, it tends to be depressing, right? It was a little depressing, a little homesick. It was a little. Fred goes, "Is this Deliverance?" I'm like, I think. But anyway, Whitefish is beautiful, but some of the areas, and there's like a lot of meth there. It's a whole thing, you guys. But if you can hack the cold, which I literally cannot. And I was kind of annoyed at my sister because she was like all wanting an outdoor wedding. And I'm like, okay, let me look at the weather, what it's going to be. It was like 40, 50. And I'm like, I think the universal cutoff for an outdoor wedding should be 60 degrees. Like, that's it. If it's below 60 degrees, you're not doing it. It was cold. We were all bundled up, whatever. But it was lovely. But getting home, there was a little bit of drama. And I will say this, I got to give a shout out to American Airlines because it could have been so much worse. So we're on the plane. We couldn't leave till 3:30. They had like an 8 a.m. flight and a 3:30 flight. I mean, what? So it was already going to put us in at like 10 o'clock at night if we were lucky. We're sitting there on the tarmac, waiting an hour. I'm reading my book, and all of a sudden I'm really realizing we haven't moved. Like, the plane hasn't started. And they're like, well, basically our plane broke, had to be jumped. And it was funny is that my sister was also stuck in her layover or in her second leg, and their plane broke too. Anyway, finally got off the ground, and then I realized, I was like, oh, ruh-roh, we're going to miss our second flight because there's only a 50-minute time and blah, blah, blah. And what was really, have you ever heard of this before? So we looked at our tickets to because we were flying out of Hobby, and we were going to drive to Hobby. Because who doesn't want to drive to Hobby? Hobby is a pleasure. A pleasure, I tell you. It looks beautiful. It's clean. There's nobody there. It's really
the new remodeled Hobby.
Oh, it's lovely.
Is awesome.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I hated the old Hobby airport.
I don't really remember the old Hobby. I just know that if I had to fly anywhere, it would be out of Hobby. And I can compare it to LA like this. Like when I lived in LA. LAX is Bush. Burbank is Hobby. You want to fly into Burbank, okay? LAX is a nightmare. Same with Bush. Anyway, it was great. We were all excited. Flying out of Hobby. Great. We thank God we Ubered because then we look at our tickets and we were going home into Bush. And my sister, same thing. And my sister drove. They drove to Hobby. And so my poor brother-in-law gets off the plane at 11 o'clock at night and has to drive from Bush to Hobby or get an Uber from Bush to Hobby to get their car. Anyway, here's the point. I don't know what the point is. The point is this. They rerouted us into Bush, and then we missed our flight. So we've got our bags, right, on the initial flight. And I said, there is literally no way on God's green earth that our luggage is going to make it. Like, none. Zero. We get off the plane. We run over to the agent. The agent was sweet enough she was like, okay, you're already rebooked. Here's the deal. And I'm like, our luggage going to make it? She was like, yeah, totally. And I told Fred, I said, there is no way. We get in about, 11 o'clock at night. Our bags made it. A miracle, I tell you. A miracle. a miracle. And they rerouted us back to Hobby. So there's my first world problem for that. Now, speaking of something funny came up at the wedding. So my stepmother's boyfriend, my father died in 2019. Her partner is a cool guy named Chuck, like a super cool guy. He used to do helicopter rescues of people like in the water. He's like seen more dead bodies than you could probably count. He's like, oh yeah, I've seen a lot of drug overdoses and a lot of hypothermia and suicides and all of it, murders. So he was like, he's like, here's an idea. He was like, we should do a podcast together. I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, but I'd last like 15 minutes and I would kill you. And then I go, okay, well, here's an idea. And he was kidding, kind of, I think. And he goes, well, what we could do is like this is my idea. I was like, we could do a podcast called Where Did I Dump Angela's Body? And it could be like a travel show. And so you have a host who would get in there and be like, all right, guys, where's it's like a Where's Waldo? Where did we dump Angela's body this week? And you could do a little travel show of like the beautiful areas of Montana. And then I would pop up at the end and be like, here I am. I thought it was kind of funny. And then I had this other thought. I was like, you know how people will say, like, my sister, we're so like funny with each other. I could not stop crying. I was very emotional. Emily came down the aisle. I was thinking about my dad. And what was cool is that even though it was cold, like the weather, it had rained earlier. And then like right as Emily was getting ready to walk down the aisle, the sun came out. It was really, we were all like, all right, Dad, that's pretty cool. So I was crying a lot. My sister's like, are you crying again? And I had this idea, like, wouldn't it be funny to have like a segment of you give someone a line, right? Like, are you crying again? And think of all the crazy ways you could say it. You'd be like, are you crying again? Are you crying again? Are you crying again? Anyway, you're like, it's not that funny. I thought it was funny at the time. It's like, try it again. Just think of how many ways you could say it. Listen, actors, actresses, you can have that idea. There you go. Okay. Now, speaking of things that are going on, I want to talk. I can't remember. I don't think the Bad Bunny thing had happened when we last met. And I want to briefly touch on this because the NFL like really hates us. Like they hate us a lot, obviously. I think we did talk about it a little bit, but they've doubled down on this. Like they let this Puerto Rican dress wearing loser like host SNL, which if you want, listen, SNL has been crap for these many years. The last good cast was like Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, Fred Armisen, that cast, Will Forte. Anything after that, forget it. You're taking your life in your own hands. But they let this guy host, and he's like, hey, you're going to have to learn Spanish in 4 months because I'm going to be doing the Super Bowl halftime show. And it's like, why do they hate us so much? And I wonder, like, how bad are the ratings going to be? Like, people have short memory spans, it's true. But, like, do you think MAGA America is just going to like, cool, not watching, refuse? Do you think?
I don't think anybody's going to, well.
You don't think anyone's going to remember?
I think he has a large enough following to bring his own audience, but I don't think the conservative football crowd is going to stay tuned in during halftime. That'll be bathroom break time.
Let me tell you something. Bad Bunny is like John Cena, as I was talking about last week. These people that sold their soul to Satan. Speaking of John Cena, before we go to the break, John Cena is doing some superhero movie with the James Gunn guy, the guy that did the woke Superman. The guy who was like, Superman was an illegal immigrant, like that guy. John Cena, who sold his soul to Satan, who's a body shaver and all the things I hate, who did an apology video to China one time in Chinese, like, like, I'm so sorry for offending the great Xi Jinping or whatever the hell he said in Chinese, in Mandarin. It was crazy, you guys. So he's like, he's doing a movie with this James Gunn guy. And it's wild. Like when you realize that Bad Bunny, who threw on a dress and heels, not in just one photo, but several photos of Bad Bunny in dresses and heels, in a wig, just strutting his stuff. And then you look at people like John Cena or smallhead Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock. Like, they all sold their souls. Like, I am convinced of it. They're not talented. They're not interesting. They just did what they had to do. So, all right. When we get back, I have other things to discuss. I promise. You're listening to the Box Show. Angel Lift. Angel Lift, all you heifers out there. All you heifers out there that are tired of your thin, wrinkly old lips. Okay? And you don't want to go the filler route because filler always makes you look like this. Okay? And it doesn't matter if you do a little filler or a lot of filler. It always looks like this. And duck lips are not the look. Okay? I'm going to tell you about Angel Lift because Angel Lift can plump out your lips, help with those lip lines. Is it going to be 100% fix? No. But if you start using it today and start doing it like I do, which you're totally not supposed to sleep in. You guys, they will tell you not to sleep in these things. I'm just saying, personally, I sleep in these things. And I have for years. Okay? And I really don't have a lot of, I have some lip lines, but not a ton, especially for the fact that I'm years old. So if you want to have a natural lip lift and a filler-like look without the filler, go to Angel Lift and get you the expensive ones. Do not get the cheapy ones. Get the ones that are like $140. Just trust me on this. Don't get the lower ones. And you're gonna see a big difference. I mean, as you can see my before and after pictures, I was in shock. I was like, I cannot believe they actually look like this. I was like, whoa, really does work. AngelLift.com/Angela Box Show. You'll get 10% off. AngelLift.com/Angela Box Show. You should get like 3 or 4 at a time and just get that big discount. Do it today.
Fighting for the conservative cause. It's the box that rocks. Angela Box on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
All right, everybody. I like bringing on candidates for different offices and hearing their pitch to the voters because it's very important. And even though I have a lot of listeners who aren't in Harris County, I have a lot of listeners who are. So there is a race, obviously, that we've now come to live and loathe because of one Lena Hidalgo, and that is the Harris County judge race. And so this year, or this cycle, Lena Hidalgo, I guess, had some really bad internal polling, and she's like, let me not run again, unfortunately, because this would have been fun. But Anise Parker is more than likely going to be the Democrat candidate. So we've got some Republicans that are looking to take on the former mayor. And one of those people is my old friend, Orlando Sanchez. Y'all know Orlando. He has run for county treasurer. I believe he ran for mayor. He is a fixture in Houston politics. And so he's thrown his hat in for the Harris County judge race. Welcome, Orlando.
How are you?
I'm super. So how bummed out were you? I mean, I know we got to win the primary and all that, but how bummed out are you that whoever the Republican nominee is isn't going to be taking on Dora? I'd be pretty sad.
Well, first of all, that would have been a great fun to talk about all her disastrous decisions in Harris County. But obviously, she has stated that she's not going to run. But you know what, Angela? It wouldn't support me if she changed her mind and decided to put her name back on the ballot in December.
Huh. Why is a little birdie telling you this, or?
No, I just think that given her instability, one day she's hot, one day she's cold, one day she says she's out, one day she may be in. So we just don't know. There's no consistency to Lena Hidalgo.
This is true. And if you've got her fellow Democrats on the county commissioners going, this lady's a wackadoodle, all right? Like Adrian Garcia going, what is going on with this person? This tells me that she knows. I don't think she's going to run. I mean, it is funny, and I want to get to your race, but I want to remind everybody that Lena Hidalgo was the great brown hope of the Democrat Party. And the Democrats invested when she inexplicably woke up on the day after election day in what year was that? 2010? I can't remember. 2018, excuse me.
2018.
2018. 2010. 2018 woke up and was like the old Eddie Murphy bit. Remember in Delirious when Jesse Jackson ran for president? And people were like, let's vote for Jesse Jackson. And he wakes up the next day, he goes, I effing won. That's what Lena Hidalgo woke up to. She's like, I won? Oh, because of that straight ticket voting for Beto O'Rourke. But, the last election she had was certainly suspicious, to say the least. But let's get to why you're running. Why now? And why this race?
Well, you know that I have a lot of experience both at the city and the county, so nobody knows the Houston region more than Orlando Sanchez. I served on the Houston City Council for 6 years, and then after I was term limited, I decided to run against Lee Brown, who was the former mayor, who actually was putting Houston in a precarious financial situation. And we see the results of it today, right? We don't have enough law enforcement. The garbage cans don't get picked up. The water lines are breaking everywhere. The streets are a disaster. We've spent millions of dollars on the rail system in Houston that very few people use. And then we had the disastrous Silver Line in the Galleria, which, absolutely nobody uses.
Nobody. And I live over there. I can attest. Nobody uses it.
Right. No one uses that system. So we make these poor decisions, but on top of that, then we had this disastrous pension commitment that we made. The city of Houston had 3 pensions: the firefighters' pension, the police officers' pension, and the municipal city workers. And we are drowning in liability to those pensions, so we don't have enough money because 63% of the city of Houston's budget is personnel cost. Then we have the debt service, so there's no money left for transportation, streets, adding more police officers, first responders, and so the city's a disaster. So you asked me why I decided to run for county judge in Harris County. I was county treasurer for 12 years. I ran the finances. I ran the checkbook. I know intimately where every dollar was going. Remember back in 2018 when Ed Emmett, Steve Raddick, Jack Cagle were all in office, we had a balanced budget every fiscal year. We had money in the bank, and we were paying down our debt. Today, we're $300 million in debt in Harris County. Our debt, our liabilities are growing. And by the way, every time Harris County issues a general obligation bond, because they said, well, we're going to fix flooding, so we're going to issue a bond. And the voters, of course, voted for it. But they squander that money. They spend it on everything but flood control. And so now we are heavily in debt. We run deficits every year. And the county is going the same way that the city of Houston is. And so I couldn't stand by and watch this happen to our community.
Well, you make a pretty strong case there, Orlando. I mean, certainly you have the experience. You've got very well versed in all the issues. And I think, as a Harris County judge, even though it's a partisan race, the things you're talking about, and frankly, the things that all the Republican people are talking about are very similar. And there's not some superfluous crap about, abortion or something stupid, which is what Democrats always do. No matter what the race, they'll find some social issue and be like, which is ridiculous. But anyway, okay. So let's say you win the primary. You have got to win a citywide race against former Mayor Annise Parker, which people now forget how unpopular she was towards the end. People are just going to be like, oh, she's the former mayor. And after Lena Hidalgo, anything will be better than that. And so the Montrose Madam is going to come waddling in there and think she's got this, on a silver platter. So how do you think you can win citywide?
Well, you mean countywide.
Oh, countywide, excuse me. I'm tired today, Orlando.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Well, let me tell you how I'm going to win countywide. When I was on the ballot back in 2014, I was one of the highest vote getters in Harris County. I beat the lieutenant governor. I beat Greg Abbott. I beat all the statewide candidates in Harris County. Judge Ed Emmett and I were the highest vote getters. I beat Stan Stannard. I beat Chris Daniel. I mean, we all won, but I was the highest vote getter. So what does that tell you, Angela? As the demographics of Houston changes, and now we're approaching 45% of the Harris County population is Hispanic. Everybody knows that Hispanics are now in a major political realignment. What that means is the expectations that Hispanics were going to vote for Democrats is out the window. And what we've seen throughout Texas is that Hispanics are coming over to the conservative side. Why? Because Hispanics value family. They have a tremendous work ethic. They believe that the Democrats worry too much and talk too much about gender and transformation of gender. They talk too much about race. They try to divide America. And so Hispanics are now trending to the conservative side. The only way Republicans win back Harris County is to get crossover votes. There's only one candidate that has a history both in Houston and Harris County of winning crossover votes, and that's Orlando Sanchez.
Well,
and let me give you an example.
Go ahead.
Let me give you an example. You remember that 2 years ago, I ran for controller of the city of Houston. I was outspent 10-1. But do you realize I received nearly 87,000 votes in the city of Houston? So that tells me that a person with the experience that I have, both at the county and at the city, and by the way, I've handled billions of dollars on an annual basis for both public and private enterprises. Because, you know, I'm on the board of a bank. I'm on the board of the largest hospital corporation of America. And I'm the chairman of the University of Houston Foundation. We manage almost $400 million. So managing the public's money is nothing new to me. And that's what we need at Harris County. But I'm the only candidate that can get us across the finish line in November of 2026.
Well, Orlando, you make a strong case. So tell everyone how they can support you, because everybody knows you've got to have money to run a countywide race. So how can they support you?
Well, everybody can make a contribution. I don't care if it's $1 or if it's $100,000. Every contribution counts. Every contribution helps us get across the finish line. Let me just say this. There are a lot of candidates running for the Republican primary, but I will tell you that none of them has the experience that I have. And in fact, one of the candidates never been elected to office, never managed any money, didn't serve at the city or at the county. And so the question that I think most voters, particularly in the primary, have to ask themselves, Angela, is, do we want to run the risk of electing a rookie after 8 years of putting Lena Hidalgo, who had no experience, in charge of the county and its finances? And the answer is no. You want an experienced, true and tried conservative Republican back at the helm of county commissioners court.
Well, how can they support you?
The way to help me is just go to the website, orlandosanchez.com, request a yard sign, volunteer, or make a contribution. Stay in touch.
Sounds great. Thank you for coming on today, Orlando.
Good to be with you. And do you remember your Spanish name?
Angela Caja.
Angela Caja. It's great to be with you, my friend.
I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Orlando.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll be right back. Boys and girls, look at my face. Look at this glow. Do you want this glow? Of course you want this glow. Well, what you need to be doing is using the amazing Froya Organics balm that I use and my husband uses. And I mean, listen, ladies, you know how this goes. If you can get your husband or your boyfriend to like start asking for something like, where is my Froya? Where's my balm? We were out of town last weekend and he was like, where's my Froya? I'm like, honey, it's over in your bag. He's like, whew, he was nervous. Anyway, you can get the best skin of your life with Froya Organics. And if you use my code, Angela Box Show, you're going to get 15% off your first order. So just go to FroyaOrganics.com/Angela Box. What's my name? Angela Box Show. See what the hype is about, y'all, and get this Froya glow for yourself.
Infuriating the far left, Democrats, socialists, and communists. It's Angela Box on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
I love having candidates on who both have the two candidates I've had on for Harris County Judge. I think both of them would be great. Both have a different perspective. So if you didn't get a chance, make sure to listen to Orlando's interview, and also make sure to listen to Marty Langton's interview that I did a few weeks ago, and do, compare and contrast and make your decision fairly and with objectivity. Now, okay, so remember I was saying the John Cena thing. So here's the story. All right. Superman director James Gunn Peacemaker plot depicts a racist America with Jesus-loving Nazis. I mean, y'all, and I'm gonna talk about this latest JD Pritzker thing. Calling us all Nazis again. It's like Charlie Kirk is not even like cold in the grave. Okay. They literally, I mean, what am I saying? They didn't even give it 24 hours. They were immediately calling us all Nazis, and we all know what they did, and they celebrated his murder and everything like that. And of course they denied who was responsible for it and all that hoopla. And then, for 5 seconds, they're like, okay, I guess we better play nice. And now they're like, no, they're all Nazis. So it's like, I don't know exactly how this movie ends. And by movie, I mean this thing that they're doing to us, the way they're dehumanizing all of us. I don't know how this movie ends, but I'm hoping, well, I know that God wins. And I'm hoping that as this rhetoric continues and gets ramped up and jacked up as the midterms approach, I'm hoping that the American people are like, yeah, y'all are nuts. Okay, so let's discuss real quick the JD Pritzker thing and the ICE stuff that's going on. So, couple things. We've got Patrick Bateman, aka Gavin Newsom, American Psycho, and Jabba the Hutt, JD Pritzker, out there riding and dying for the illegals. And one of the biggest reasons they're doing this is because they need those bodies. They need those bodies for congressional apportionment, and they need these people to be on the government dole, which we talked about last week. The lies they tell you, and we're going to talk about the shutdown too. The lies they tell you that illegal aliens are not receiving welfare is a lie, because a latest study says, about 60%. I mean, I think that's like on the low end, frankly. 60% of people with illegal aliens in the household are receiving welfare benefits. And here's how they get around it. So, Papa and Mama might be border jumpers, but, their 4 anchor babies are not. So they just apply for the benefits in their names. And that's how they get around it. Like, duh, we all know this. Not to mention the 2 million Social Security numbers that they just so conveniently found that were tied to illegal aliens. And that means they can vote. Like, this is such a multi-layered thing. But my point is that Gavin Newsom and JD Pritzker especially are having a real meltdown about Trump sending in the National Guard to protect federal buildings, to protect ICE agents. They don't like it. And now Trump is basically threatening them with an even better time and promising that, you keep this up, it's going to be Insurrection Act stuff. And for the life of me, I realize they're both running for president, and I realize they both have to run to the left, and they have to, coddle and capitulate to the most left-wing lunatics, which are the tail wagging the dog of the Democrat Party. The crazy ones are the ones in charge, and they have to appeal to those people. I understand all that. Okay. However, they're literally doing illegal things. Okay. They're literally saying, we are not going to allow National Guard in to protect federal agents who are being attacked by left-wing fat trannies with blue hair, sky screamer, FIFA-wearing lunatics, okay? We're not going to protect the ICE agents against those people. We're going to allow chaos and mayhem to reign in cities like Portland and all over California and in Illinois, etc. We're not going to allow ICE to do their job. So that right there, the fact that the governors of these states are basically giving carte blanche to actual insurrectionists, not, I said this on Isaiah's show. I said, too bad that there weren't like 274, if not many, many more FBI agents in with Antifa to help y'all out, but probably not like they were on January 6th. They're literally inviting this violence. They're inviting people to come and to dox the ICE agents, to attack the ICE agents, to make their lives a living hell. And it's happening all over the country in blue cities and blue states. And so Trump is saying, come on, just keep going. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more. I think that Pritzker and Newsom explicitly saying we're not going to help, we're not going to have any of our people, of our law enforcement, stop these lunatics from attacking other police officers, is basically, they're almost there. They're almost there for Trump to be able to do the Insurrection Act. But Trump also knows that the meltdown, the cacophony will be absolutely through the roof. So I think what he is waiting on is for more of this to happen. I think that these ICE agents, they know, it's such a sad thing to watch. They know that they're sitting ducks. I mean, last weekend, where was the shootout? Where was the shootout? Tell me. Can you look it up real quick? I can't think of it. But last weekend, there was some, a legal person, some lady who had been put on the watch list the week before by ICE, going, this lady's making threats to us. This lady is promising to, F us all up. And what do you know? Like, there were like 3 or 4 cars that boxed in ICE agents. And this lady gets out and brandishes a semi-automatic weapon. I think it was in the Bloomfield area. I think it was in the Chicago area.
There's a few. There's one in Chicago. There was one in Dallas recently.
Oh, yeah.
It's been happening a few times.
It's been happening a few times. Anyway, to me, I guess because it's not like in Trump's mind and the DOJ's mind, it's like, okay, these are lone actors. These are crazy people that are doing this. This isn't Gavin Newsom or Pritzker or Waltz or whoever saying go and do an attack. And I think that Pritzker and Newsom know that they're walking a very fine line here, because we now have 911 footage in the Bloomfield, Illinois area, Chicago area, that basically they got a call in saying ICE is being attacked. And the 911 call, the dispatcher was like, okay, do you need people out there? And the guy calling it in, the cop calling it in, is like, no, we've been told to stand down. Like, that's, to me, that's a line that has been crossed. And we need to know who gave that order, because you're telling police officers not to help other police officers who are being attacked. Okay. And so it's not just a matter of them riding and dying for illegals and understanding all the reasons why they need them. It's now there's a line that is, in my opinion, being crossed or being very close to being crossed. And so I think we need an over-under when Trump is going to declare that these are insurrectionists. A month. And the longer this shutdown goes on, I think they're going to get more and more brash and bold. Because when I was on Isaiah's show, and I'm going to pivot now to the shutdown, because I wasn't on this segment, but it was the segment before mine. And I was kind of surprised at even people on our side were not understanding the import of this shutdown, and understanding that Democrats are basically, the reason they're shutting this down is because they want to give healthcare to illegal aliens. Like the song and dance that was being done on Isaiah's show was that Democrats are standing up for people and the Obamacare subsidies. Like that's the song and dance. Okay. That's literally all that was said. And people on our side didn't push back on that, which had I been in that segment, I'd be like, I think you missed a few pertinent points. Number one, you're giving subsidies to illegal aliens so they can get health care. And this is how Democrats do it. It's like any kind of money laundering scheme. They are the kings and queens of money laundering. And so they take the block grant from the federal government, give it to the states, and then the states give it to the illegals. Like, it's really not that hard to figure out. And so Chuck Schumer and Timu Obama going out there claiming this is all a lie. It's like, well, it's not. And it's not just that. There's so many things that Democrats are doing that are just baffling. In fact, Senator Kennedy went out and he just dropped some major truth bombs. And he was like, here's some of the crazy things. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I was like, here's some of the crazy things that Democrats are wanting to fund. In fact, I'll probably have to do that in the next segment, but here's something that Caroline Leavitt, and this is what I love, y'all. This is not George Bush's Republican Party, okay? It is Donald Trump's Republican Party. It is the party of pushback. It is the party of FOFO. It is the party of, we're not going to let you get away with this. The days of you being able to gaslight and for the media to be able to gaslight what this is all about are over. So Caroline Leavitt the other day at the briefing, she had this whole segment, ending Medicaid funding for most non-citizens, ending enhanced FMAP for emergency care to illegals, closing the California loophole, ending Medicare funding for most non-citizens, ending Obamacare funding for most non-citizens, repealing the Obamacare special rule for immigrants. Like, billions and billions of dollars is what these repeals would be to save the American taxpayers. But Democrats are like, no, we're not doing it. I do want to read some of the funny things that Kennedy found. And of course, I'm scrolling like a mad woman trying to find this. Probably have to do it when we get back. But not only so, and Johnson is doing great work too. Basically, the extension of the clean CR, which is what Republicans are promoting and what Democrats have voted on 13 different times when Joe Biden was president, to extend the government to do a clean CR. It's like, no, we're not going to do that. And now Hakeem Jeffrey, aka Timu Obama, I don't know what, I guess the media is fluffing them up so much that they think that they're going to win on this. They're like convinced that the American people are on their side, to the point where they don't even want to. The Republicans are like, okay, look, we'll do a year extension for these subsidies so we can work things out. And Timu Obama's like, no, we want it forever. And it's like, well, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, this is going to go on for quite some time, I'm afraid. You're listening to the Box Show. We'll be right back. New Frontier Creative, ladies and gentlemen, are my partners. They are my partners. They are my friends. Kevin and Becky Blaylock are this husband and wife super team duo who Kevin is very good at video stuff and production. And Becky is like a super genius when it comes to logo creation and graphic design and doing amazing social media campaigns. And they work together to basically elevate, I hate using that word, it's so Meghan Markle, but elevate your business, your content to the next level. And they're partnering with me, and I'm going to be a forever partner with them because they have taken my sad little Angela Bach show and they're like, you have great content, but you need some help, sis. And they have helped me, and I will be forever grateful for them. So if you need any kind of graphic design, logo creation, website work, content, social media posting, which is like the devil, okay? If you're a content creator, you know that posting is the devil. Editing is the devil. They can do all these things. Create your reels for you. Set up your studio. Do whatever you need to do when it comes to production. And they're patriots, and they're very good people. And I highly, highly recommend them. Could not recommend them more, actually. So if you go to newfrontiercreative.com and you tell them when you contact them on email or call them, they're like, Angela sent me. They're going to give you 15% off. So bundle everything that you need. Be like, I want this, I want this, I want this. Do it. And if you go to my website, angelaboxshow.com, she did all that. She did all that. It looks fantastic. I can't say enough about Kevin and Becky. So go to newfrontiercreative.com today and get 15% off when you use the code Angela.
Standing up for what's right. This is the Angela Box Show on the Big 1070. The Answer.
Okay, as promised, John Kennedy, Senator Kennedy is truly the gift that keeps on giving. That man, he is blessed with a quick wit and a rapier's wit and a quick tongue. And so basically, here are some of the things that Kennedy found that the Democrats, this is what they're holding up. And a lot of people will be like, oh, this is just, picayune stuff. Like, who cares? It's like, well, every little bit of money, listen, this is all money that's being laundered back to Democrats. Like all the Doge stuff, all the USAID money, that's all money laundered back to Democrats. Okay. The Ukraine grift, all of it. So here's what is being funneled back to Democrats, which they're not going to let go of. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians, $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal, $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. Prince Harry going to be there. $882,000 for social media mentorship in Serbia. $4.2 million for LGBTQI people in Western Balkans and Uganda. What in the F? Okay. Like, this is just some of the things. And then you add on the illegal alien stuff, and it's like, okay, I get it. And listen, the Democrats who have literally nothing, they have literally nothing. They're sitting at a 12% approval rating, okay? 12% approval rating. And they're like, we could go lower. We could go lower. And the longer this goes on and the more Trump is on the offense, the worse it's going to get for them. But Representative Ratchet's out there on CNN gaslighting the, 500 people that watch it. And she's like, we are winning this. This is a war we are winning. We are winning the propaganda war over here in Team Blue. Okay. And I encourage them to continue on this track. And on that note, I found this article in the Atlantic, and it's probably behind a paywall, but I threw it into my show notes just in case, because it bears discussing. Okay. Here's what it is. Democrats still have no idea what went wrong. Okay. Democrats have no idea what went wrong. And essentially the article is like, we're trying to tell these, well, let me just set this up. The Atlantic is a left-wing rag, and it's run by Lorene Jobs, who is Steve Jobs, whatever. She owns it, or she partially owns it, or whatever. So the Atlantic is not going to do a lot of navel gazing, I suppose, but they are trying to, I guess, give a 911 to Democrats, like an SOS, like, you guys, we need to start, we need to talk about grandma. Okay. Like that's kind of the vibe that this article is. It says, okay, Democrats still have no idea what went wrong. The party's progressives seem to think the problem is not with their platform, but with voters. Okay. On a recent panel of progressive activists analyzing what went wrong in the 2024 election, the author, activist, and failed political candidate Qasim Rashid spoke with confidence about the way forward for the Democratic Party. The problem, he insisted, was not that Democrats had strayed too far from public opinion, but that the party had grown too solicitous of it. Quote, again, I say this, keep going, Democrats. Quote, saying the right thing timidly, he proclaimed, is less effective than saying the wrong thing loudly. So it basically, he was, speaking to the choir at this thing, preaching to the choir, saying to the Democrats, listen, it's not us, it's them. Okay. It's not us, it's you. And that is what they're going to go with. So look for the Democrats with the shutdown to continue it on and on and on. In fact, there's a Schumer affiliated PAC that basically let the cat out that, this shutdown is going to be extended for a very long time. And again, this is the winning issue for Democrats. This is what they think is going to win them hearts and minds. Couple things, though, with the shutdown, because people are starting to figure out that, number one, just like with every shutdown, it's like, well, we don't really need the government. Okay. Like, is anyone's life impacted because of the government shutdown? Probably not. Now, we are starting to see some issues when it comes to air traffic controllers calling in sick and flights being delayed. And I'm just so happy that I had my traveling done before this really got bad. And that could be a problem. That could be a problem. And then, of course, we've got paychecks not going to be coming in to certain like ICE agents and people like that, military, things like that. That's going to be a problem. Democrats don't care about that. Democrats don't care about those people whatsoever. And they think that their furloughed people are just going to get their jobs back. And President Trump's like, no, actually, this is my time to drain the swamp. And this is what I was alluding to when I was listening to the segment before mine on Isaiah. Like, I was surprised that there was not more talk of, this is what Trump is low-key doing. He's draining the swamp. Like, they're draining themselves, okay? Democrats are stupid. They're not smart. And they think that the longer this goes on, that somehow that Trump's not going to let people go. Evidently, the magic number is 61 days. So after 61 days, Trump can start, like, cutting these positions permanently, okay? Now, will these people get back pay when the government reopens? Yes, but they will also be laid off. And so the Democrats who think this is a winning issue, just like they think that supporting illegal aliens getting health care and attacking ICE agents and not deporting illegal aliens, they also think those are winning issues. Like, I don't know who's doing their polling, but they should probably get a different polling outfit. But again, it's delicious. Now, in the last couple of minutes we've got, I mean, there's so many things, but I wanted to discuss this Charlie Kirk tie, the murder of Charlie Kirk with this armed queer, so Salt Lake City armed queers, okay? Armed Queers of Salt Lake City is a group that was talked about a few weeks ago and has kind of gone off the radar now because people are like, oh, it was just this guy. And listen, are you listening, Candace Owens? Because Candace Owens has lost her damn mind. Candace Owens, because she was butthurt, in my opinion, because she did not get a invite to Charlie Kirk's funeral, has now gone from blaming Israel for his murder to Turning Point USA. Like, truly, listen, George Farmer, her husband, come and get your girl, okay? Please make her stop. It's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, but that group, Armed Queers of Salt Lake City, kind of went off the radar for a little bit, and now it's Data Republican, which is a fantastic Twitter that you should be following. The breaking news is that the State Department and the UN are tied to Armed Queers of Salt Lake City leader, which is this tranny named what's her name? I misgendered the tranny. I am so sorry. His name is Ermiya Fanalaya, yabba whatever. This person, Ermiya Fanayan, who granted could pass for a girl, has had some feminization surgery. This person is a lunatic. This person was on the UN's 7 for 17 goals, which are these far left crazy goals, like opening all the borders and balkanizing everyone and making everyone queer and whatever. This is the number 5 gender equality. She got this. He got this highlighting from the UN for being a trans liberation and feminist political organizer whose work has included organizing around the abortion struggle, which he could never have an abortion, but whatever, working with the ACLU to secure the rights of trans youth in the education system, organizing to criminalize conversion therapy in the state of Utah, working on electoral campaigns, and creating research studying the conditions of gender-oppressed people at the hands of state institutions. Okay, this is a UN-promoted person, and now everything regarding this person on every website has been scrubbed. You don't scrub things from websites if you have nothing to hide, okay? So this is staying quiet right now, but I imagine pretty soon we're going to come to find out that there are a lot of ties, a lot of people tied to Charlie Kirk's assassination, not just Tyler Robinson, but we shall see. All right, that's my time. You have been listening to the Angela Box Show. Till next time, everybody, keep kicking ass and taking names. Peace.